This is the fourth and final part in a four-part series of how to set up a single page application for selling a single product for Bitcoin Cash. In part one, I did a quick introduction to what the app looks like. In part one, I showed how to customize part two, I showed how to customize the front end. In part three, I showed how to customize the back end, and I introduced how a merchant would go about reading their encrypted messages that show them that they got a new order. But that's not the most convenient. Most people are used to receiving email notifications. So in this part 4, I'm going to show you how to set up a separate application that can detect when new encrypted messages have arrived and send you an email notification to let you know that you have an encrypted message that you need to check. So here is the outline. It's very similar to the last video. We're going to walk through the README, then we're going to clone the repo and install dependencies. Then I'll walk through the config file, and then I'll show you how to customize the shell script to add the authentication information for your own email server, and then I'll show it in practice. So the repository is also GitHub Permissionless Software Foundation group, and the repo is called E2EE for N2 Encrypted Email Notifier. So if we just walk through the README here, this is very similar to the back end. They're both forked from the same boilerplate. And the installation process is going to be exactly the same. I'm going to go through here, go into that temp directory in the merchant demo, and I'm going to clone this repository. And then I'm going to install the dependencies like I did before. And so now the app is ready to go. We can start it with npm start. However, we need to change some settings in the config file. Now this app can run on the same machine as the backend, the REST API. They run on different ports so they won't step on one another's toes. Or this can be run on any computer because all it's doing is it's checking the blockchain. There's no direct connection between this app and the backend. So it's up to you and your use case and how you want to use this. You could run this, say, on your personal computer and then run the backend on a cloud server. That would be one way I could see this being operated. So if we go back here, we've done these first two steps. Let me walk you through the config file. So let's see, we're in this temp folder here, and then again the config file is going to be in config, and for environment, and then common, and scroll down to the bottom. And these are the two settings that we need to change. This is the Bitcoin Cash address for our merchant, and so we need to change this to the address that we had in the previous video. And you can do that with the wallet adders command. So this is the address that we want to monitor for encrypted messages. So replace that. And then you would replace this with your own email address. This is the email where the notifications are going to get sent. So those are the only two lines that you need to change. And now, if we run npm start, it will begin monitoring for messages and send us an email. There's one other config setting that we need to change, and that is this E2EE email notifier example. You're going to want to rename this by taking out the example part, and you're going to want to change these environment variables. So this is the name of your email server. This is the username for your email user, and then this is the password for your email password. So this is what will let the app log in and send an email, and it needs to have access to an email server in order to do that. And so I have a shell script set up already with my server information, but you'll need to customize this part for your own server information. And so I actually have that. I that already over here. I'll copy that into this directory. And then I can start it by running that shell script. So now that's running, and it's going to use these configuration settings. It's going to send message, or it's going to monitor this Bitcoin Cash address, and when it detects a new end-to-end encrypted message, it'll send it to this email address. And so I think this runs every 5 minutes. It'll check for new messages, and here is that email address. It currently has 4 messages. We should see a 5th message pop up. Here it is. It came through. Yeah, it took 5 minutes, but it found that new order message on the Bitcoin Cash address, and it generated a new email and sent it out. And we can see here in my email reader that I have a new 5th message that's unread. And like I showed in the previous demo, the point here is just to receive notifications, like a nudge, like, hey, you should go check your encrypted messages. The point is not to put all the information in the email, which would not necessarily be secure. This way, the information, like the private key that holds the money, is kept secure at all times because it's only decrypted at the moment of it being read, and it's not like just being sent as clear text in an email.